All right, this is the heart model, and these are the major blood vessels, the primary blood vessels. The heart consists of 4 chambers. The upper 2 chambers right here, the blue and the yellow, these are the atria, and 2 ventricles. The blue one right here, the whole structure, this is the right atrium. And the whole structure here that's yellow or peanut color, this is the left atrium, the whole structure, the whole part here. Right atrium, left atrium. Okay? And this is called the auricle. It's just a flap part that's on the top of the right atrium. So this is the right auricle, and this is the left auricle. On the top of the atrium. Right atrium, left atrium, right auricle on the right atrium, left auricle on the left atrium. That's what we got. The other 2 are the ventricles. The ventricles are down here, and you see this is the right ventricle, this is the left ventricle. In between, you will always see like the yellow tissues right here, separation in between, and this is called the interventricular septum, which means the septum that's separating the 2 ventricles. Inter means between, so interventricular septum, the septum in between the 2 ventricles. So this is the separation here, right ventricle, left ventricle. Let's start with the right atrium. The superior vena cava will bring the blood to the right atrium. Okay? The inferior vena cava down here, this is going to bring the blood also to the right atrium. So both of them, the inferior vena cava will collect the blood, the deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body, which is on any part that's inferior to the heart. And this is the superior vena cava that's going to bring the blood from anywhere above the heart. Both of them are going to collect the blood into the right atrium, and from the right atrium, it will go to the right ventricle. And if we open this, this is, look at the cusps, 1, 2, 3. 3 cusps, or 3 chambers, or 3 parts, 3 flaps. This is what is communicating between the right atrium on one side and the right ventricle on the other side. They are communicated through this valve. So what did we call this valve? First, it's between the atrium and ventricle. So we call it AV valve, atrioventricular valve. This is the first name. And this is the right one because we have another atrioventricular, but it's left. So first name is right atrioventricular valve. And because it contains 3 cusps, 1, 2, 3, so we call it the tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. Okay? And you see these fibers, white fibers. Here's the valve itself. And the valve, of course, is unidirectional, so the blood will leave the right atrium and will go to the right ventricle, and it's not supposed to go back to the right atrium, just one way. Right atrium to the right ventricle, not going back until if there is an abnormality. So this is 3 flaps, and you see these fibers, little fibers right here, these are called the chorda tendini. Chorda tendini. It's a lot of them, but each group come with one of the cusps. And if you follow the chorda tendini, you will see these muscles in the inside of the heart itself, in the inside of the ventricle, and these are called the papillary muscles. Okay, so this is a valve itself, the right AV valve, or the tricuspid valve, 3 cusps, and these are the chorda tendini, these fibers right here. And if you follow, these are going to go to the papillary muscles, the red papillary muscles that are holding the leaflets, the cusps, to the muscles of the right ventricle, so that it does not allow the blood to go back. So this is the inside of the right ventricle. Okay, right atrium, right ventricle. From the right ventricle, the blood will leave and go to the pulmonary trunk. So this is the pulmonary trunk. It didn't divide yet. It didn't divide to the arteries. This is the pulmonary trunk. And you see those cusps, 2 cusps here. This is the entrance, the valve that's guarding the entrance of the pulmonary trunk. So the blood will go from the right atrium to the right ventricle, and will leave the right ventricle, go to the pulmonary trunk through pulmonary semilunar valves. Pulmonary valve or semilunar valve. This is going to allow the blood to go from the right ventricle, leave, and go to the pulmonary trunk, and it shouldn't go back. So those 2 together here, this is the pulmonary valves. This is the pulmonary trunk, and it's going to divide into, here is one, and there is another one here, just going underneath. So this is the left pulmonary artery, goes to the left lung, and here is the right pulmonary artery, that goes to the right lung. Okay, so pulmonary trunk, right and left pulmonary arteries. Now the blood will go to the lung and will return back. You see 1, 2 in one side, and here's another 2. Those 4 together, those 2 and those 2 right here, these are the pulmonary veins. These are going to carry the oxygenated blood from the lung back to the left atrium. So the left atrium will collect from those 2 here and another 2. 4 pulmonary veins will collect into the left atrium. The blood will leave the left atrium through this valve and go to the left ventricle. And if you look at this valve, you will see 2 cusps only. So this is called the bicuspid valve. Second name, left AV valve. Third name, mitral. On the right side, we said only 2 names. Here are our 3 names. Left AV, left atrioventricular, number 1. Number 2, it has two cusps, so this is the bicuspid valve. Number 3, the mitral valve. And same thing, you will see these are the chordae tendineae, and this is the papillary muscle. And so the blood will collect at the left ventricle and will leave the left ventricle through the aortic valve. If you look inside here, if you can come closer, deep inside here, you will see a valve that contains 3 parts. This is the left semilunar or the pulmonary, the aortic valve. So this will take the blood from the left ventricle out to the aortic, out to the aorta, one way only. And here is the aorta. This is the ascending aorta. This is the aortic arch, and this is the descending one. The main vessels here that are coming from the aorta. On the right side, this is the brachiocephalic trunk. This. And the brachiocephalic, this one. Brachiocephalic will divide into right subclavian, right common carotid. Left subclavian and left common carotid will come directly from the arch. So the right side and left side are different. Right side, brachiocephalic, and it will give you right common carotid, right subclavian. On the left side, the left common carotid and the left subclavian will come directly from the aortic arch. And if you wanted to recognize the common carotid from the subclavian, the common carotid is going to your neck and it's going to your head. So those 2 are going up to feed your brain, so or your head in general. So these are going up, and then the subclavian will go down to your arms. You can stop.